You're watching The Prophetic Edge, the show that takes you to the edge of your comfort zone, challenges you to look at God, the universe, and life in ways you would never have imagined. If we always do what we've always done, we'll always get what we've always had. And if you're like most people, that just doesn't cut it. You know in your heart of hearts that there's more to life and more to God than what you've been told. The Prophetic Edge invades your thought box and forces you to see things from another perspective. The goal? For you to find your Lord in a much deeper, more meaningful way. So open your heart and open your mind, because the Prophetic Edge starts right now. Love to sing the song, I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. We're always being told what we've lost, what we don't have. But what we have been finding out, talking to Don Milam, there are some other things that have been lost, other things that we just haven't been told about, that really make a difference in our ability to walk with God. Don, thanks for being with me again.
Glad to be with you, Don.
Don has written the book, The Lost Passions of Jesus, and also a new book that we're about to talk about.
It's called The Ancient Language of Eden. And, you know, life is a journey, and journey is full of discoveries. And I think that's the unfortunate thing with the church, is that it creates this traveled, fixed path that everyone is supposed to walk along, so that everyone is making the same discoveries. And if someone gets off the path, everyone gets frantic. But it is kind of when we sort of lose our way, when we get off the path, we begin to make some incredible discoveries. So once again, in my own personal pursuit of the Lord, I begin to see some things begin to happen within me. And I came into your office one day, and I started sharing with you about the ancient language of Eden. And that's where it all started right there. It really did start with trying to understand. You know what I think it is? God puts it's like He built a homing beacon within us. And it's like tick, 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 tick. That thing is going, and we know that something is wrong on the inside of us. We know that there's a sound that's creating an echo, and we hear that all around us, and it disturbs our life. And it's like a spiritual nostalgia that says, we used to live in a better place.
Yes.
There used to be better times. And because of the frustration of life and the rules and the regulations and the lack of freedom, something begins within us to cry out for those times that we used to live in, those times we once belonged to.
Well, that is very powerful, and I am positive that many, many people watching the show today can relate to that. I can relate to it. And whenever you presented that concept to me, it just totally ignited something in my spirit. Because I know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that homing beacon, as you put it, is a reality of the Holy Spirit inside of us, drawing Himself to His Lord, drawing Himself to the Father, so that there can be true union.
And you know, Don, I have felt that all my life. And just reflecting on the ancient language, I've thought back over the course of my life. And you know, I had 4 years of Bible college, and I came out of Bible college and went to Philadelphia. Mick and I were going to work with druggies, and there was and I remember this scene. It stands out in my mind because it illustrated something that was very wrong on the deep side of me. But I remember that we had this coffee house, and in those days in Rittenhouse Square, it was full on the weekends. So you had druggies, and you had the hippies, and you had the pimps and the prostitutes, and then you had all of these intellectuals from the University of Pennsylvania and Temple. So I remember that first night. I'm sitting at my coffee table. The coffee shop opens at 9 o'clock. I have my Bible on the table, have my coffee cup, and I'm going to preach the gospel of Jesus to these guys. So the door opens up, and these guys come flooding in, and the hippies and the druggies, the guys are all stoned out on drugs, and you kind of smell that that pot coming down into the room, And this boy, he never smelled pot before, I was fresh out of Bible school. I was clean, man. And so they're all all gathering around me. So I have a couple of prostitutes and a druggie, and then a couple of guys from University of Pennsylvania. One kid was from Temple. So I'm getting ready, and I'm telling about Jesus and the gospel, and you got to give your heart to Jesus and stuff. And all of a sudden, these guys started talking to me about existentialism and Freudianism and Nietzsche. And about 2 hours of that, my mind is in a total maze. I have no clue what is going on, because these guys did not ask the right questions. I was not told, what was going on out there in the world. I assumed if I just went out there and started talking with people, everyone would get saved. And I went back to my home that night, and I knew that my language was a dead language. I had been taught the language of religion, and religion was not penetrating the hearts of these men. It only created confusion for me, and it didn't save them at all.
Well, not only does the language of religion create confusion, it also creates a victory for them, because the language of religion cannot stand against the intellectualism of the day.
Right.
And the only thing that can is the penetrating life of the Lord.